Okay, determining financials on rental properties. We're diving in here. What you're going to learn from today. Number one, calculating financials to determine a good rental property. What makes a good one? What makes a great one? What makes an okay rental property? And what makes one you shouldn't even touch? How to plan and factor for the unexpected expenses. We see this all the time. Just because you don't have to pay it this month doesn't mean you won't have to pay it in a few months or in a few years. And how do you plan on that so you don't get hit with an unexpected huge bill? And finding out the true cash flow from a rental property. A lot of people, when they calculate cash flow, they don't think through all the expenses, and they are not spending money wisely when they get their cash flow because there's more to it than they could imagine. Okay, this is all about evaluating the profit of a rental property. We've already talked about a lot of things, right? We've already talked about determining which areas are viable options for long-term rentals, how to evaluate rental properties. We've talked about it. We've talked about deal-killing factors that should make you walk away on the spot. The difference between cheap and the difference between good deals. I talk a lot about how my Burger King house ruined an investment of mine. If you haven't seen those, go ahead and take a watch on those. We've also talked about rental property ROI, the 5 ways properties make you rich, why cash flow should be the number one goal for real estate investors, which unexpected expenses will ultimately ruin your investment. We've talked about those things. Now we're going to talk about the how to determine cash flows, okay? So we're going to be talking about the language of business right now, okay? The language of business, we're talking math, guys. Now, when I say this, I know your stomachs get sick. I know you start seeing a temperature rise, but this is so important, okay? Cash flow is simple, right? Pretty simple. You take your rent, you minus your expenses, it equals your profit or equals your cash flow, right? Seems really simple. Not so fast. The real question is, what all is included in expenses? That's really has a problem. And I look at this differently than most people. Okay, rent minus income. You can determine this by looking at comps in the area. What are things actually selling for in the area? And Investors Edge software, it'll show you the rental prices with a heat map and an estimate by property. So you can come here, you click it, it shows you, so this is under $500, this is over $5,000. You can see the areas, you can see the rents, you can see all of that. Let me just show you one other thing. Okay, here's a property address. We'll just pull this guy up. You can also come in here in Investor's Edge, and it will show you, give you an idea of, rents that are happening in the area, which is right here on the opportunity, $1,664. Is this perfect? No, but it gives you a great idea to do some calculations on. So the Investor's Edge works really well for helping you determine what properties are going to rent for, both in a macro and micro level. Okay, rent income. You can determine this by looking at the comps in the area. Investor's Edge will show you the prices and the heat maps, and you want to be $50 less than everybody else to avoid the turnover and get long-term tenants. This pays you so much over time. So basically, if the house is going to rent for $950, I'm going to rent it for $900. It's going to do 2 things for me. Number 1, I'm going to have less turnover. Number 2, I'm going to rent the property faster. And probably number 3 that I should add is I'm going to have better quality tenants because I can decide which tenants I want to put in. I'm going to have multiple tenants to choose from, so I can make that decision. Okay, expenses. Loan payment is an expense. Hazard insurance is an expense. Utilities. I make the tenant pay all utilities, including water, sewer, and garbage, because I primarily rent single family houses. HOA if property is in one, you've got to include your HOA. Taxes, the property taxes, those are the expenses you're used to, okay? Now, let's talk about some expenses people just don't talk about, okay? Some expenses: maintenance, capital improvements, vacancy, property management. These are things that are actual expenses that will take money out of your pocket if you're not doing it appropriately. First off, maintenance, okay? These are the things that have to get done along the way. This is the leaky faucet. This is the toilet that doesn't flush. These are things that have to happen in order for someone to live on the property, okay? These are things you have to keep the home in good condition, but they're not improvements, okay? My tenants take care of minor repairs. If it's bigger, they pay a deductible, and one of my vendors goes to the property. And my vendors, by the way, are spying on the property, taking pictures and letting me know what the property looks like. They know that's one of the things they have to do as being one of my vendors to go to one of my properties. Pro tip, some people like to get a home warranty to cover big things along the way. It's a numbers game. Keep in mind, with a home warranty, there is a deductible. People do this on rental properties quite frequently. There is a deductible. The home warranty company is making money. They may lose money on you, but they'll make money on the cumulative of other people. So it's a numbers game. I personally don't use home warranties, but it can really help new investors getting started to help cover some of the expenses of the unknown. And so they can be something that can be really helpful. Capital improvements. Let's talk about what capital improvements are. These are things that are going to make the house better or last a long time. So some examples: a new air conditioning unit when there wasn't one, or putting on a new roof, or putting in a new kitchen. Those types of things are going to be capital improvements. And most people don't budget for repairs and budget for capital improvements that you're going to have. I budget 5% of my monthly rent for these two things. So 5% for repairs and 5% for capital improvements. So if I'm renting the property for $1,000, I'll put $50 a month into my repair budget, and I'll put $50 a month into my capital improvement budget. Okay, and I put these into a separate bank account. It's not money I'm going to take for myself. So a pro tip is look at high yield savings accounts. Now, in today's market, in today's economy, high yield savings accounts just keep going down, but it's a heck of a lot better than putting it in your traditional bank, even though the interest rates are continuing to go down. And I think we'll see that trend for a little while. Okay, next, vacancy. Okay, so who's going to make the loan payment when your property's vacant? Trick question, you are. You're going to have to pay that. So I budget 5% a month for vacancy. So I took $50, it's $1,000. I took $50 out for repairs each month, $50 for capital improvements, and I take $50 out a month for vacancies. And I put this into a separate bank account. So quick pro tip, my old tenant shows the property to my new tenant, so I never have to show the property. Meaning, when somebody gives me notice, one of the requirements for them to get a performance bonus from me is they actually have to show the property to new prospective tenants. They're living there. I don't have to drive the property, show it to them. The other thing is, the ideal situation is they hand off keys in the driveway. My old tenant schedules with my new tenant to meet in the driveway when they packed up all their stuff and say, here's the keys. And then the new tenant say, fantastic. They move in and the property has been vacuumed and swept. And if you get good tenants, if you train your tenants, this can happen. This reduces my turnover, which does what? Increases my cash flow. Property manager, this is an expense. Typically charge 8 to 10% of your rents. Some have fees to find tenants up front. We manage our own properties. That's just what we do. So it depends. It's an additional expense. So let's just run a hypothetical with everything we're talking here. You've done your research. You looked at the comps and you know the property will rent for $1,000. So you discount it by $50, so you're down to $950. You choose the very best tenants. You have lots of applications, and you keep somebody in the property for 5+ years, so your rent's $950. Keep in mind, we do a small rent increase every year, $5, $10 every year. We do a small rent increase to cover some of the cost of living increases. Okay, so expenses. Your loan payment, let's just say, is $500. Your hazard insurance is $34 if it's not included in your loan payment. I budget $34 a month. Property taxes is $100 if it's not included in your loan payment. Let's pretend like it's not for this example here. You can find out how much the taxes are by logging on to Investor's Edge before you actually buy the property, so you can actually do these calculations. You go into Investor's Edge, you go into the specific property, and you can look and see how much the taxes are, what the changes on the taxes are by year. Expenses, HOA. Let's say that there's not one for this property. I typically don't buy properties that are in HOAs. Property management, let's just say you do your own for this example purposes. You take out 5% for maintenance, which is $50, 5% per month for rent, which is $50, and 5% per month for vacancy. Keep in mind that $50 a month for vacancy is, all this is my money. What I'm doing is I'm setting aside my money, so when those things happen, I can then pay pay for it rather than have to take money out of my personal income. So gross profit, $166 per month of gross profit, but I've taken out the maintenance, the capital improvements, and the vacancy. Now, some people, it may be worth it to break even on this situation because they're putting the maintenance, the capital improvements, and the vacancy because of the tax benefits that they're getting, and they're relying on some appreciation that's going to be happening. I personally don't like to buy properties based upon appreciation. I like them to cash flow, even if it's not a lot. I like them to cash flow. Appreciations long-term, tax benefits happen. We talk about this in detail in some of our other videos, so you want to check them out as well. Like I said, we spoke on this. There are multiple ways. There's appreciation is a way you can make money through real estate rentals. And remember, appreciation, there's standard appreciation and there's forced appreciation. Next, you've got debt pay down. Paying down the debt, the reverse or the amortization schedule. Next, you have your tax benefits. And lastly, cash flow, which is what we are talking about today. And we're only discussing cash flow. We're not talking about these other things today. Metrics to watch, okay? You've got to watch cap rate. You've got to watch cash on cash return. You've got to watch rent to cost. You've got to look at your equity and keep a really good idea of where that equity is. And these will help you determine what rental property is better than another. But that's a conversation for another day because we've gone through a lot here. Okay, so let's just, I hate math. Okay, we got to get through some of these comments here. I hate math in high school. Where did we leave off here, guys? Okay, I hate math in high school, Dwayne. I hear you. Gloria, thanks, for your prayers on Dwayne's wife. Still do, Dwayne. Oh, Jason still hates. Dwayne hated it in high school. Jason hates it still now. Math doesn't lie. Absolutely. Me too, Jason. Got it. Would like to see one of your contracts that cover things like repairs, utilities. Greg, that's a great idea. I should actually go through a rental contract and talk about what we do. Obviously, can't give legal advice, but that's, if you want that, if anybody else wants to see that, vote that up. Just put in the comments that you want to see that rental contract. And Greg, if we get enough votes, we'll do it. Dwayne, any of your tenants are Section 8? Absolutely not. I started out doing some Section 8s. They typically will overpay for the property, but they are not great tenants for what I like. Keep in mind, when you first buy rental properties, if you're just trying to max out your cash flow, Section 8 is probably a good way to go. However, you're going to have higher turnover. You're going to have problems with tenants. You're going to end up having to do work on the properties. And so my tenants actually stay for a long time or reduce the rent. So that's my strategy. If you want to do a higher level of hand-holding and you want to be more involved, it's something you should consider. But I have found having quality tenants makes my life easier, and I would rather give up a little bit of cash flow for what I think is better. I actually think I get better cash flow because my tenants stay longer. So I'm not in Section 8 housing. Thanks for the percentage example for maintenance and cap expense. Yeah, you bet, Gloria. Dwayne, allocation of funds. What do you mean on the allocations, or you just mean how I'm breaking it out? Hopefully, let me know. Thanks, Miss Gloria. Looks like Neil would like to see that rental contract as well, rental agreement. So got a couple of votes for that rental contract. So yes, they are not. Okay, I gotcha. All right, stay tuned. This is a conversation for another week. If you haven't already, get the free rental calculator, dohardmoney.com/rental-calculator. All the math and all the examples we just went through, you can actually put it on. So like Gloria said, she'd love to see that example. If you want to get this rental calculator, you can download it for free, and you can use that in helping you analyze good properties for rentals. A couple things you missed last week, rental property part 2, calculating ROIs. You missed my tried and true methods for determining the profitability of a rental property, the 5 ways rental properties can make you rich, why cash flow should be the number one goal, which unexpected expenses will ultimately ruin your investment. If you missed it, check it out on YouTube. Future live casts. We've had a few comments here. Anything that someone has mentioned here, please vote it up as well. Otherwise, take a look at this list and put in the comments, I'd like to see this for a future live cast. We'll be looking at all those and making a determination for future live casts. So wholetailing, determining rental repair costs, coronavirus investing, analyzing rents, remote wholesaling, choosing good contractor, virtual wholesaling, finding cash buyers, seller financing, contractor bids, determining rental prices, what makes good rental properties, business partner deep dive, prepare for cash flow, reverse wholesale, finding cash flow buyers deep dive, seller negotiating at the kitchen table, BRRRR, which we've done before. If you haven't seen that, take a look at it. Income properties, sales skills, closing a deal, all the players that are involved, auction properties, subject to deals, determining repair amounts, buy property remotely, making offers without seeing properties, or something else. Anything that you are anything you're interested in, please type it in the comments and let me know what you're interested in hearing so we can prepare for some future live casts. Dwayne, yes, how you were breaking it down. Good. I'm glad it was helpful. Yes, vote for rental contract, says Gloria. Keep it up. Okay. If you enjoyed what we went through today, you got to check out Income Hacker. Please share this podcast with other people. I know you'll enjoy it, but check it out. A lot of things we've been asking for is here. So now the moment everybody's been waiting for. So we showed the swag that we're going to be doing. We'll actually give it away next week. So here's our swag box. But what we need to do is give away for last week. Okay. So this is our winner from last week's live cast. Let me quickly go through some of the things you're getting. We've got our exercise. This is from last week's. We've got another stress house, which we have in this week's too. We've got our jump rope. We've got another couple stress houses. We've got the water bottle holder. Some similar things here. You've got your ice pack. And then this one, we've got a cool OGIO. This is more of a duffel bag, where this week's we're actually going to be giving away that backpack with the back to school. So who won this? This was from last week's. Oh man, there's so much stuff. I can't even get it back in the box here. So today's swag winner, this was from last week. If you're interested in this, or next week. So Rayo won our swag of the week for the prior week. And so the best comments, the interactions during the recorded videos and on YouTube. Today's swag winner, our winner, drum roll. If you think it's you, put your name in here. Our winner is Carolyn Nelson. Carolyn, if you're here, shout it out. We're happy to have you. This entire swag, beautiful box of great stuff is going to be heading your way. So here's what I need you to do to claim it. If you're the winner for this last week or for other weeks, just email support@dohardmoney.com. Just subject, put your livecast winner. Make sure you need all of these. We need all of these. We need your screen name, which is the name that shows up when you make comments, your mailing address, full city, state, zip, the whole thing. We need your cell phone number. We need your email address so we can send it to you, make sure the track and make sure you get it, and then we will send your free swag out. So Carolyn, congratulations. Please email these things over to us, and we'll get your swag out for this next week. And remember, next week we'll be giving away the swag for this week. So next Tuesday, 6 p.m., be here. Please put in comments here or on the recorded video what you would like to have for future live casts. While we do that, Neil, subject to deals. Okay, Neil, I got it. Our subject to deals, special contracts. Yes, they are. If you don't know, subject to is buying properties subject to the existing financing. Yes, you can do wraparound. You can do subject to. There's a bunch of different ways to do that. And Neil, I'm glad you enjoy the backpack. Keep those comments coming, buddy, and you might be the winner for next week's live cast swag giveaway. All right, guys, any final questions, comments, put them in there. We're getting to the end of our time together. I really appreciate all the interaction. I appreciate you being here. I hope this was helpful. If you're not currently subscribed to Do Hard Money on YouTube, please go subscribe now. Share this with some other people. I hope this has been helpful and you got some takeaways from it. Thanks for being with us today, and we'll catch you next time, next week, same time, same place. Have a great evening, everybody, and make it a very